If I come out and say one little innocent mare is going to die, he goes, then everyone loses their mind.
He goes nuts.
And he starts freaking out. And he goes, they can't stand it.
Yeah.
Because it's chaos. It's fear.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done with this. I know how bad this can get when it gets bad. I also, though, look at the bigger picture, and I look at the fact that there's a lot of people who the virus is so dangerous they have to test themselves 6 straight days just to know if they have it.
Yeah.
And it's a matter, it seems to me like there's a huge matter of luck just based on viral load you get, genetics, I don't know. But you can't drag the worst onto everyone else. And this is where it gets interesting, because I saw a letter from an ER doc in New York City. He was the best friend of a guy I know, and it got passed along. This is March. This is at the very beginning. And this guy wrote a letter. He had been on the ward for like 4 straight days, so he had 8 hours off or something, and he wanted to sit down and give his thoughts from being eyes on the ground, running the ER. And so what he said is that what you're hearing on the news in these New York City hospitals, what it looks like in the hospitals, it's true. Like it is ugly. We are past capacity. These places you see us building just to have beds, it's real. Like it's a mess. But there's this concept that we look at death from 2 angles. And he explained that you can look at it from what is my chance to survive versus what is my chance to die.
Yeah.
That negativity bias.
Absolutely.
He said the fact is, of the people that come in the hospital, I forget his exact number, but it was in the neighborhood of 97 to 98% of them live. Walk out of there and they're fine.
Absolutely.
And he was saying regardless of age, just overall. And I'm sure older people were a little more fucked and, but let's just...
There's a sliding scale.
Right. Yeah. And so he said, it's ugly. We have more than we can handle, and it's this whole unprecedented situation. But he said, now think of it from the context of a cancer diagnosis, which statistically a lot of Americans get, usually later in life, but some people get it earlier in life, and it can kill at any age, including newborns. He said, if you walked in and I gave you your tests, and then we went back to my office and I walked in and said, I have some really bad news for you. You have cancer. Your whole body sinks. When a patient gets told that, they go, oh my God.
Shot in the gut.
And there's a shot in the gut. Yeah. He said, what is the question they always ask right after that?
How long do I got?
No.
That'd be my first question.
It goes right to, all right, I'm dying. What do I got?
How much longer do I have to live?
and in this case, the doctor would be like, well, slow your roll. Because what he said is that most people would ask, what are my chances?
Yeah.
And so doctors give a percentage. He said, when I have to have this conversation with someone and I just call it like a polyp or,
something I'll cut out.
Yeah, a segment of cancerous cells. I know in my head, they're never going to have to do chemo. We're going to cut this fucker out. It's going to be done.
Just cut the size of a fist out of your stomach.
Right. Well, and that one's a little bigger, but exactly. That's 2. Yeah. We're doing a count here. But if I told you that you had a 95% chance to live as an answer to that question, he said, you know what happens every single patient I say that to? Their mood just swung completely the other way.
95%.
They jump up. They're like, oh, fuck, let's get on the table. Yeah. Let's go, baby. I'm good.
95%.
I got this. I'm good. Because they see the positive.
Yeah.
Now, if I look, he said, if I look at someone like that, and cancer's so common that like people are used to hearing the worst, right? Yeah. If I look at them and say, you have a 5% chance to die, would they answer it the same way? Or would they be thinking, ooh.
Because you used the word die.
And so he was...
It's how you word things.
Yes. Yeah. The point of this doctor's letter was...
die? I can die?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's saying the mentality is that people are thinking of the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
And so it's this chaos theory. And I made one relation to it that was very, very, I thought, interesting. But you tell me if it's terrible. You remember The Dark Knight with the movie?
Yeah. Which one? There was like 3 of them. But the first one,
the one with the Joker. The second one. So with Heath Ledger.
Okay.
When Harvey Dent's in the hospital with his face blown off.
He's pissed.
Right. Joker goes in there and he flips him to become bad.
Yeah.
And if you remember that...
the coin.
Yes. Yeah. If you remember that speech, he gave him this theory where he said, people can't handle chaos and fear.
It's a great, great speech.
And it's so true because he explained... if I told, like, everything's a plan, and when things don't go to plan, or when people don't know that there's a plan for it, they freak out. Whereas, like cancer, once you have it, you know a lot of people have had it, and there's a plan. You either have a good chance or you don't, and you fight it, and you lose, you win. But it's a plan.
If I introduce some chaos, what happens?
Yes. Yeah. And so he said, the example was, and I don't, by the way, on the cancer point, I don't mean that.
Yeah, I know.
That
I know
is
what
taking
you're
the
saying.
highest level.
Yeah.
It's obviously, it's a punch to the gut when you get that. But I mean, you have a precedent with it.
Yeah.
With something new like this. The point he was saying is, if I say that I'm going to blow up one caravan of soldiers, or go after 3 people at the grocery store on Fifth Avenue, no one freaks out. Everyone goes about their life, because that's not, in all likelihood, that's not them. They're fine. It's all according to plan. I told them what's going to happen. It doesn't affect them, so they move on. Yeah. But he said, if I come out and say one little innocent mare is going to die, he goes, then everyone loses their mind.
He goes nuts.
And he starts freaking out. He goes, they can't stand it.
Yeah.
Because it's chaos. It's fear. Yeah. And that's what we've done with this.
It's the unknown.
Yes. And I mean, that's what you feed on. Yeah. With business. I mean, it's the same. It's the same neighbor. It's the same family of the same problems.
It's all connected. Sure. And it's, it can go one or two ways. And it's usually going to go the bad way with the unknown. Because people are all up in their head, and when they start talking to themselves, it goes bad. You know what I mean? If you were to tell somebody, hey, these are 95% chance to live, all right, but 5% to die. Whoa.
See how you said that, too?
Yeah. It's how it's worded. It's how it's said. It's how it's delivered. And that's what really matters.
What's the number one sales tactic?
For what? There's all different types of sales.
There are all different types. Yeah. And there's a lot that work positive over the long term. But what's the one that people and businesses use in the short term to be able to just get the next nut? And it works. Fear.
Oh, yeah. What if this could happen? So say if someone had cancer, I beat it. But guess what? You still need this insurance for your kids, because guess what? You might not beat it. You know what I mean? So say if you're trying to, it all depends on what you're selling, what you're pushing. It all depends.
The entire insurance market is built on fear. And by the way, I view insurance as necessary.
Absolutely.
I do. I'm not. You can't take things to anarchy.
No, without insurance, there'd be anarchy.
Yeah. Right. But I'm saying they may sell 5 policies to someone as opposed to where 3 definitely sufficed. Yeah. Because they say, but what if this happens? And you're like, I never thought about jumping off the roof of X tower in this city in that part of the world, but I might do that. Yeah. Oh my God, let's get coverage. Yeah.
What if you're out with your friends one night and you wake up in a coma? Oh, I never thought about that. Who's going to take care of your kids? The minute they bring up your kids,
all bets are off.
Who's going to take care of my wife will be all right, but my kids. Who's going to take care of them?
So true, man. Yep. All bets are off with kids.
Yep. And that's what they do. They put it all on your kids.